Walker, Noah of Team Cardholder. This is in the undefeated bracket. 7-0 each. It's Team Emerge versus Sultai Emerge. Frank has the first game, and he certainly is up in the second. On 16 life, he's got a Spirit, a Haunted Dead, 2 Prized Amalgams, and an Elder Deep Fiend. That looks great against Noah's board of Lashweed Lurker, Primal Druid.
And these are 2 decks that are both trying to take advantage of large Eldrazi Kozilek's return, but Skarren is much better at building the battlefield outside of that. The prized amalgams just showing up and being excellent. You see here multiple amalgams on the table. Haunted Dead certainly was what enabled them.
Noah, his graveyard just 2 creatures, so a lot of times you'll see the teamer player needing to his Kozilek's returns a lot more. Noah's late game should be better if he gets there, but it's going to be hard for him to get there if you look at how this is.
Skarren's deck is not among the weaker decks to Emrakul. He's actually relatively Emrakul-proof. Most of his stuff is just creatures. He has a lot of spells that you can cast for no value. You can make him discard his hand to some elements of his deck, but for the most part, he's just got creatures that he can reset.
Yeah. The danger here, the play that Frank has to play around is if Noah has Kozilek's Return and Elder Deep Fiend in hand, his mana's enough to do all of it.
Yes. Can just cast a return, sacrifice the Lurker to cast a Deep Fiend, trigger that.
See another Prized Amalgam delayed trigger for Frank, so now he untaps with a huge army, and it's going to take something like that from Noah Walker to make this game anything more than a handshake.
And with the attack from the Lurker, he's certainly representing that sort of thing. Now the question is it a bluff? It's not looking like a bluff.
Waiting on upkeep. It's just the Elder Deep Fiend. So we'll sacrifice Primal Druid. The Deep Fiend will trigger, tapping 4 cards of Frank's. Probably just has to be creatures, I think.
For sure, should tap down the Deep Fiend. Doesn't want to have to block that. Though it would just bounce off of his Deep Fiend, but even still. We're at the stage in the game where Skarren's not really casting a lot of spells. Most of his action is going to be just activating Haunted Deads. Casts some Deep Fiends, but he could just do that in response to the trigger if that was his plan anyway.
Taps, looks like 2 Amalgams and a Deep Fiend, picking his 4th permanent out. Targets the swamp and the 3 creatures. Frank's going to grapple in response, gets back Jace. And then the tap happens. This is still in Frank's upkeep. And Frank's going to, I believe, just say go. Oh, no. Noah's getting his land off Primal Druid. All right. Land is resolved, still in Frank's upkeep, and now he draws for turn.
There's an attack with the Spirit here that's free, and it's really likely that he can just attack with the Haunted Dead and the Amalgam and not care too much.
Well, I guess if Noah has a lot of Elder Deep Fiends, say next turn Noah plays a Shrine, that's 8 mana, he could chain some Deep Fiends to win this game.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but maybe Frank needs to respect that. You see him just taking the free 1 point. Though not playing Jace. So we go back over to Noah Walker. Draw for the turn. Needs to find a sweeper of some sort or a lot of Deep Fiends.
Yeah, and casting the Jace here would be something that would make him a little bit weaker to Kozilek's Return. As long as Noah's not casting Deep Fiends, he already has a table that can make attacks that are going to significantly pressure Noah, stop him from being able to attack himself, and then the Prized Amalgam, the Haunted Dead, they'll combine to allow him to just keep resetting his battlefield.
Yeah, if Noah has 2 more Deep Fiends, he can win. That's, I know, and of Shrine, and that's a ton, but it's possible.
Right. And for Frank, it's really just return Deep Fiend that he has to care about.
Here comes the 5/6 from Noah. Frank can see if he wants to block. He has the Haunted Dead, Prized Amalgam, both available. Even a double block, though, won't take care of the Deep Fiend. It's a 5/6. giving away 5 free damage is pretty big. So yeah, we'll see Haunted Dead on the block.
Yeah. Haunted Dead generally does its best work in the graveyard. I like the block there.
And then Nissa's Pilgrimage from Noah Walker. He does not have Spell Mastery, so just gets 2 forests.
Noah still representing a second Deep Fiend. The Lurker could be sacrificed to it, theoretically.
Yeah, plays that forest. Here's 2 mana. Here's Jace and a pass. Has 2 blue up, so you're right. The representation's there. He tapped as little blue as possible. 2 lands remain in his hand. 2 cards in his hand. And Frank, gonna on the end step, looks like Haunted Dead will go to the battlefield again, getting another spirit.
Yeah, and so now Noah doesn't really have a profitable block on Frank's Deep Fiend, though he can chump block it with one of his 2 creatures, make another block, and Frank is shy of lethal that way, though he is significantly ahead of Noah on the table. And really, outside of having that second Deep Fiend, there's not much that Noah can present in this matchup.
No, there's not much. I mean, a possible Kozilek's Return is very good too, but you're right. The tools just aren't completely there.
And the return needs that Deep Fiend backup too.
Yeah, it needs another emerge creature to go with it, and preferably a 5/6.
Yeah, right now, the return's fine. It kills his Lurker. That's a problem. So he has to sacrifice that.
Frank goes to attacks, and second Deep Fiend is available for Noah Walker, so he's gonna emerge it out of Lashweed Lurker. So he only has 10 power here as he looks to tap 5 of Frank's things.
Good chance that you go for the spirits, both because they're free attacks and they can chump. Or maybe he just decides he can win otherwise.
It's going to be 2 Amalgams, the Haunted Dead, and the Deep Fiend that are tapped. This was during Frank's upkeep. He will draw.
Now with only 10 power on the table for Noah and Frank still at 15, Noah's still in trouble.
Yeah, now there is a combination of an Eldrazi and a Kozilek's Return that could do some work, but we're talking about some very specific cards.
One of them being the 3rd Deep Fiend, and this is a great way to find out if that's lurking.
So Frank will sacrifice the Haunted Dead to emerge him Distended Mindbender. He gets Noah's last card that was a Vessel of Nascency. So Noah playing off the top now.
And Frank has the free attack with those 2 spirits if he goes that way.
Yeah, he might. At the same time, this board seems really good for Frank. Yeah, here's the swing for 2, Noah to 8.
The issue is the way that Noah wins this game, Frank can't interact with. So he just really wants to kill him before he can possibly set it up. And the Jace is going to help him set that up, to be sure.
A loot with Jace for Noah. Draws 1 card, now draws a second. Jace will flip. The only sorcery or instant Noah has in his graveyard is a Nissa's Pilgrimage. That doesn't do too much for him.
The Jace Plus also not very relevant on this board.
Right. Got that unknown card, though.
It's got to be a good one. If he had Emrakul, casting that looks okay here. He could eat 3 of Frank's things.
Yeah, that'd be good. Jace will plus on Prized Amalgam. And he'll pass.
Well, so it's definitely not Emrakul.
Yeah, we'll see if it might be nothing. Draw from Skarren.
And finally a window to start making some attacks.
Distended Mindbender, one of those cards that in the emerge mirrors, it's just a shade too small.
If Frank chooses to shove with everything, or even this attack here.
This is lethal.
Yeah, this is lethal, assuming that Noah has nothing.
Right, Noah blocks the 2 biggest creatures. He takes 3 off each of the Amalgams and 1 off each of the Spirits. That looks like 8.
Yeah, and he gives away his Mindbender to do it, but he's just trying to close Noah off of having those outs.
Sure. The prize amalgam that hung back was the one that Noah shrank, and Shrine won't do it. So a handshake there. Frank Skarren stays undefeated, a perfect 8-0 as he defeats card hoarder's Noah Walker.
Noah did a good job of presenting as if he was still in that game, but Frank knows the only ways that Noah actually wins this game, Frank can't do anything about. His only option is to shove. He does, closes the game, gets the win.